I mean, could you have possibly predicted this NBA plot twist? Forget dynasty fatigue for a second. Without Steph Curry, the Golden State Warriors aren't just, surviving. They're playing a brand of basketball nobody saw coming.
It's pretty wild.
We're talking about a team suddenly looking more dangerous, maybe more unpredictable than they have in years. Welcome to the deep dive.
Today, we're digging into one big headline. The Warriors are shocking the NBA. We've gone through the game tape, looked at the expert analysis, all that stuff to pull out what really matters here. And our mission really is to understand what's actually behind this Warriors surge. Like, what does it mean beyond just one win? And how's it shaking up the league?
It's genuinely surprising. We're so used to the Warriors story being all about Steph Curry's brilliance. It's just tied together. So to see them not just hang in there, but find this new level of intensity, this effectiveness without him, it makes you rethink everything you thought you knew about this team. Absolutely. And let's start with someone we all know, but who, seemed to find a whole new gear. Draymond Green. The analysis we've looked at is calling this Draymond's demon mode. And it looks like the spark, in this game anyway, was that matchup against Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, felt personal.
It really did. Not just tactics. It felt like deeply personal.
And that personal angle, I think, is really key to understanding how Draymond played. When he's locked in like that, emotionally invested, his impact just goes way beyond the box score. The analysis, it really highlights that this was different. This wasn't just regular season Draymond. This was like playoff intensity turned way up. And this performance, even if it's, maybe a one-off, it shows this other dimension opponents now have to think about. It forces adjustments.
And the offensive side was just, wow, 4 3-pointers in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, that's not typically Draymond, is it?
Not at all. Highly uncharacteristic.
Right. The analysis stresses that he wasn't just being the defensive anchor, the playmaker we expect. He was pretty clearly the best player on the floor. And then Curry goes out, and you expect maybe the offense to stall. Nope. Draymond just takes over. Scores 9 straight points, controls the pace in this really tight, low-scoring game. Felt like a playoff game, honestly. What did you make of that offensive burst?
It was a revelation. Honestly, we know Draymond's passing, his defense, but the scoring in this game, that was the real surprise. And that phrase they use, he cooked Rudy like a microwave dinner with those shots off the dribble, spot-ups, it just shows the confidence he had.
Yeah, it definitely paints a picture.
And it kind of challenges that idea of Gobert's defensive dominance in those big moments, doesn't it? The fact that Draymond basically became the offensive engine, that says a lot about his leadership, his willingness to step right up when they needed it most.
Which brings us to this really interesting question from the analysis. Was this the best game Draymond Green has played since, 2016?
It definitely had that feel, didn't it? Echoes of those championship runs.
It did. But okay, while Draymond going supernova is exciting, we got to talk about the Curry situation. That hamstring injury is, it's a huge concern.
Oh, absolutely. You have to connect it back to the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
Their championship hopes. Curry's health is still the #1 factor. The analysis is pretty blunt. Without him, it's a really steep climb for the title. So, yeah, these other guys stepping up, Draymond's game is all good stuff, encouraging. But let's be real, without Steph, there's still kind of a question mark, even if they look dangerous game to game.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, great win, but
what does it mean long term? Everyone's just waiting on those MRI results, hoping for the best, as the analysis points out.
Okay, so shifting to those unexpected guys stepping up.
Yeah.
Let's talk about number 61, Pat Spencer. The analysis calls him the number 61 nightmare, which is quite a title. And let's be honest, unless you're a deep, deep Warriors fan, you were probably thinking, who even is this guy before this game?
Right. Totally out of the blue for most viewers.
But according to the analysis, he was just making plays everywhere, disrupting things.
Right. And that's what's so interesting, isn't it? How an unknown player can just inject pure energy and make such an immediate difference. The analysis describes him throwing elbows, spinning in transition, locking down like Gary Payton II. I mean, that's quite the comparison.
It really is.
And he only played, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
But for it to feel like 30, as they said, that just shows his activity level. He was relentless.
Yeah, nonstop motor.
It makes you wonder, about the value of guys who just bring that hustle, that fearless attitude, even if it's just for short bursts.
Exactly. Goes from who to someone people are saying deserves real minutes, all because of energy, hustle, zero fear, Even Draymond, who doesn't just hand out compliments, right? He called him a damn good basketball player.
High praise from him.
So the analysis is kind of positioning him as this potential wild card, something the Warriors maybe didn't even know they had, but could be really important now.
It definitely speaks to maybe some hidden depth, or perhaps how well their player development or scouting is working behind the scenes.
Finding guys like that? And the surprises kept coming. The analysis also highlighted how they use Buddy Hield. Almost like, well, like Steph Curry.
Yeah, the role was similar.
Now, he started off terribly, 0 for 8. You thought, okay, this isn't working.
Rough start, for sure.
But then, second half, he just flips a switch. Makes 7 of his next 11 shots. What changed there?
I think the key thing is the coaching staff's flexibility, right? Using Hield in those Curry-type actions, coming off screens, relocating, catch and shoot from the corner, it suggests the system itself is robust. It's not just about Steph's individual magic, maybe.
Interesting point.
And for Hield to then hit those huge threes in the fourth, when Minnesota was making a run, that shows some serious resilience. He didn't fold after the bad start.
Yeah, clutch shots when they absolutely needed them. It really does make you think about maybe the system over just the star player. The analysis puts it nicely. It's not about the name on the jersey anymore. It's about the role in the system. Which leads to that big question they posed. Has Kerr just unlocked a new system, one that can work even without Steph? What's your gut feeling on that?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If they can keep playing this effectively, offensively, without Curry, wow, that makes them so much harder to prepare for in the playoffs, so much more unpredictable. It really shows how adaptable Kerr and his staff are, how they empower different guys. Maybe there was always this strong offensive structure, just kind of overshadowed by Steph being Steph.
Yeah, maybe. And then there's this other slightly unusual angle the analysis brought up, the Buddy and Jimmy show.
Yeah.
Now, okay, the source mentions Buddy Hield and Jimmy Butler having this dynamic, which is odd, right? Since Jimmy Butler's on the Heat.
Yeah, that seems like a likely mix-up in the source material. Probably meant a different Jimmy involved with the Warriors.
Almost certainly, maybe a coach, another player, who knows. But the main idea about Buddy Hield's personality and chemistry clicking, that still seems relevant.
Definitely. Regardless of who the Jimmy actually is, that point about Hield's personality, his chemistry within the team, that's important. The description, trash talk, chemistry, bickering like brothers, that kind of stuff, alongside playing well, that's valuable, intangible stuff for a team.
Adds a spark.
Totally. And that line, Jimmy Butler is the heart, Buddy Hield is the flamethrower, even if the Jimmy part is wrong, it paints a good picture of contrasting styles that work together. That chemistry helps in big moments.
It sounds like fun, too, injecting some swagger, some personality back into the team. The analysis talks about them maybe, roasting each other in press conferences, that playful competition. It brings back an identity, maybe.
Which, as the analysis says, you can't teach that kind of chemistry.
No, you really can't. It just has to develop.
And that cohesion, that positive dynamic, it can be huge, especially when you're dealing with the pressure cooker of the playoffs. It helps communication, builds resolve.
Okay, so let's pull back. Look at the bigger picture here. The analysis is pretty clear. The Warriors, the team everyone thought was supposed to be done, are just, well, they're defying all of that.
Yeah, exceeding expectations is putting it mildly.
They're bullying contenders, apparently, outworking young cores, and maybe most importantly, developing new killers in-house, like Spencer.
And I think that zero pressure idea that the analysis mentions, that's huge. Expectations were so low, right? So now they're just playing free. Playing with house money, as they put it. That's a dangerous place for an experienced team to be.
It really is. And if Curry comes back healthy, the potential just gets, well, scary again. The analysis talks about this new depth they've found, that championship culture reemerging. It feels like this team is built to make some noise.
Absolutely.
Even if they don't go all the way, win another title, they look like a team that could absolutely ruin someone else's dream run. A major spoiler.
And that's the big takeaway for the rest of the NBA, isn't it? Even if they don't win it all, this version of the Warriors, with this energy, this depth, they can knock off anybody on a given night or in a series. Like the analysis asks, and it's a great question, who wants to see this version of the Warriors in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Because I sure as hell wouldn't. That says it all. This team people wrote off. There are not an easy out. Far from it.
So it brings us right back to where we started. That huge question, are the Warriors really back, like championship back? Or was this just one wild, incredible anomaly? We really want to know what you think. Drop a comment below. Are the Warriors B-back-A, or are we just overreacting to a few crazy good games? And hey, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you want more deep dives into the NBA like this one, and definitely ring that notification bell so you don't miss the next one. And yeah, respect to number 61, Pat Spencer. He definitely earned it. Until next time, keep watching hoops and stay bold.